How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal, and today we're going to talk about a movie tie-in. Yeah, I know. We've done a few of them. Gonna do a bunch of them going forward because the NES was lousy with movie tie-ins. Fun part about this one, though, it's also an arcade port. I mean, that could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Because the NES was also lousy with bad arcade ports. But, what you gonna do, huh? This one's interesting, though, because the character you play as, while he can jump in the arcade version of this game, the NES port, my mans can't jump. This is based on an iconic example of a film that should not have had any kind of toy, cartoon, any kind of tie-ins that make it palatable to children, because this movie was incredibly violent. Yet here we are, and on top of everything else, he got a number of video game tie-ins. Today, though, we're going to talk about the NES port of Robocop. Now, Robocop came out, like, the film was 1987, I want to say. And the video game started surfacing about a year later. I want to say we got the NES port later on in 1988. And I'm trying to understand how, of all the things that they left in this game, when it got ported to the NES, they took jumping out of the game. It made no sense whatsoever to me. But hey, you got that gun, and halfway through a level, or whenever Murphy decides to go in his leg and pull out that gun, it was over. Everything got shot. Now, this game follows a lot of the stuff that happens in the film. Well, kinda. I mean, if shooting a bunch of bad guys indiscriminately, yeah, that happened in the movie. So that's what we needed. They did change up a few things. So in the first stage of the arcade game, you fight Ed 209. In the NES port, you go into a warehouse and fight some big robot dude. That was one of the big changes from the arcade game that I noticed. But yeah, this game is okay. It kind of suffers from some of the same problems that Bad Dudes did, where it was good enough, but it lacked stuff that made the arcade game as good as it was. Thankfully, this doesn't move anywhere near as choppy as the home port of Bad Dudes. Now, yeah, this game is okay. That weird lack of jumping, though, really took a lot out of this. And ironically enough, this version of Robocop, this port, might be weaker than the home computer ports that Ocean did, which is saying a lot because it was Ocean. Ocean was terrible. Well, with the NES, they were terrible. A lot of their home computer stuff wasn't bad. Now, if you want a copy of Robocop, You can get NES copies. The cheapest I've seen about $5-6, something like that. It's not crazy, not super expensive. You don't start getting into higher prices until you start talking about the NES ports of games based on the sequels, Robocop 2 and Robocop 3. Those were both published by Ocean, but yeah. If you're curious and you're looking for, you're a Robocop fan and you're looking for something cool related to Robocop, I mean, this is okay. It ain't awful. It's just, why can't he jump? It's an arcade game. You don't need to be film specific. That was just weird to me. But anyway, this has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow.
8-Bit Animal.
Tomorrow. Once upon a time, after Rad Racer, Square did a bunch of other stuff that wasn't Final Fantasy.